we are at 300 million. We did 3x. We had to launch new channels, hire new people to handle those channels. Today, we are spending 2 million a month. We need to ship 30 concepts a week, which is huge. You're not going to do that with Google Sheet. What I'm always telling to my team is you need to act as a manager and make sure that your agents are working at any time. What we are asking a growth marketer is not to master the complexity of the UI, which is what we were asking them in the past. It's actually to be creative, to give the right message to the right audience.
Welcome to Marketing Speedrun, a podcast for founders, CMOs, and growth leaders building and working in emerging tech and AI. Here, we talk to operators, CMOs, and growth leaders behind fastest growing startups. And if you want to scale faster by learning from someone who's already done it, you're in the right place. Today, I'm talking to Romain Marsal, who runs growth and marketing at Vibe.co, the TV streaming ad platform that scaled to $300 million in less than 2 years and is targeting $1 billion by end of 2027. His team spends $2 million a month on paid ads alone, ships 30 creative concepts per week, publishes over 40 content pieces, and all of that with a team of a bit over 10 people. Today, we're mapping out how it all works, what are the MCPs, what are the integrations, what is the content pipeline look like, and what is the single scoring system that feeds into his sales team. Let's get into it. Welcome, Romain. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Paulina. Thanks for having me.
Would love to give you a few minutes to talk a bit more about yourself and what is VibeCo, just to give a bit of context for the listeners tuning in.
I'm VP Growth and Marketing at Vibe.co, so leading all the marketing and growth efforts. So it goes from the brand, the demand gen, all the GTM systems. So we have a lot of advertisers to serve in the best way as possible. So we have huge demand to create because that's a new category that we are the leaders on. Big stuff around marketing and educate the market. Vibe.co is the streaming TV ad platform to allow any brands to run TV campaigns like social and search in a very targeted way. So we are basically the meta ads of TV. You can onboard your data, target precisely your audience, upload your creative, measure your performances, everything in the tool you love. So we are integrated with Northbeam, Triple Whale, Klaviyo, Clay Ads. So all the best tools that the marketers are already using. And today, the performance marketers are activating Vibe as a performance channel. So we have more than 10K clients among the biggest brands from D2C brands and B2B companies trying to reach decision makers. So we are really educating that performance marketing market to tell them that streaming TV should be in their marketing mix. We all see that Meta ads, Google ads have CAC that are more and more expensive because that audience is saturated and it's always more competitive. But the streaming TV ad market needs more marketing dollar into it because that's where the attention is. That's a new format. And today you have a platform that aggregates all those inventory because we have 500 plus streaming TV channels accessible on Vibe, from the premium inventories like Hulu, ESPN, Peacock, HBO, to the Roku and the Pluto of the world. So it's really about putting more dollars into that channel because it's allowing new audiences, net new audiences to be rich, and as well improving the CAC that you have on other channels like Meta and Google.
Awesome. Now I want to zoom in a bit into the marketing, the growth, and all the things that we're about here. So you are originally an engineer turned marketing leader. How did that switch happen? And how did you find yourself? Because, it's not typical that an engineer would become a marketer all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's true. And the switch didn't come overnight, of course, because it's taking time and you have to progress on different skill set, like to be fully on board from one world to the other. I would say that, so I'm an engineer. My education is an engineer, so I was very good at math and physics, and I always loved science. So that's why I went naturally into software engineer, even if I was not like a nerd or a coder from day one. I was from science and I went into software engineering because that's how it was the best way to apply my science skill overall in the market and have impact on my job. But overall, when I arrived at Vibe, I was the founding engineer because I was working already with Arthur and Frank, the two founders, before that in their previous company. But I've always been an engineer that wanted to have a true impact on the customers we were serving. So I had a deep product appetite. I always wanted to understand what's going on, what's their needs, talking to them to make sure that we are building something that is valuable to us. At the end of the day, what I wanted to do is solving problems. I wanted to use that coding skills not to only build product, but to build product that solve problems. And so always super curious and wanted to see what's going on the customer side, on the business side. And so when we reached the product market fit, I did already 2 years of building the product, and I wanted to do something else. I wanted to see something else. And that's how Frank and Arthur proposed me to create the growth department. The growth department that we needed to create at the point where we had a strong product market fit. And actually the growth today, and especially in the world of AI, even if at that time there wasn't the AI that we know today, and with AI that we have today, it's confirming even more the choice that I've made, because growth is one of the skills and one of the department where you need the wider skill sets than in any other team. Because on growth, you need to do sales, you need to do marketing, you need to do product, you need to do engineering to build the system. So basically, you need to do everything. Of course, you can't be good at everything. But in the world of AI, you have your original expertise, for me, which is product and engineering, and you can develop yourself way faster than before in other skills like marketing and sales, because you have agents that are working with you to both improve your skills and doing the execution instead of you. So I moved progressively from engineering by being heavily data-driven and product-driven, and by working very tightly with AI to just educate myself and be good at those stuff. Of course, AI is not doing everything, and so the way of learning is always to just having the best network and get the nice mentor that you need to have if you want to be the best in your field. I learned a lot by following, for example, Elena Verda from Lovable and her great content. Overall, a lot of great mentors are writing in the space that helped me to just compensate on the skills that I didn't have yet. And I moved progressively from engineering to growth and marketing, because what I just picked up as well in terms of scope 4 months ago was the marketing. So all the brand marketing side, which was handled in the past by Arthur, but Arthur needed more time to do the CEO job of a big company. But today, so I'm handling all of that, and I'm having a team under me of 13 people. But overall, just to tell you that not all engineers should be moving to go to market, but if you are an engineer that is very close from the business, don't be afraid of as well having impact on the go to market side, because especially in the world of AI, the frontier between those two worlds is blurry. And today, for example, we are building products, custom product as well on the go to market side. So, if at some point you are feeling like you've made everything on the engineering side and you want to do something else, try something else, because the go-to-market have plenty of roles that require technical skills, and actually having an engineering mindset where you are problem solving, where you are able to run hypotheses and then run a scientific analysis to solve an issue is very, very common in the marketing world and in the growth world.
I wanted to kind of double click a bit on the team that you mentioned and, all of the agentic workflows that help you execute. Because the last time we chatted, I think the stats were 10 million to 140 million ARR in under 2 years. And last time it was a team of 6, I believe. Now it's already a team of 13. So you're growing more and more exponentially. And you mentioned once that the philosophy is okay, you have one person who owns and knows the domain very deeply, and then you have the engineers that help him scale that impact and create these workflows. So if you had to, map out what are the domain experts and what are sort of, the growth and marketing channels that you're capitalizing on that are feeding this growth, what would they be?
Yeah, sure. Just to give some news on the stats. So now we are at 300 million. So we did 3x additional, and it didn't come
Wow.
like that. So we had to launch new channels as well and hire new people to handle those channels. But the philosophy is exactly the same. So the philosophy didn't change. I want to have one single owner per channel because I want to talk to one person that is able to tell me the full strategy and execute on it. But as you know, it's difficult sometimes to handle a channel on your own because sometimes the channel can be very wide and very tough to handle on your own. So we need tools. We need go-to-market engineers to support those motion and to build actual pipelines, workflow, custom products to enable that. So the paid ads is what we are still capitalizing on. And we are keep going in that direction. So we were spending 1 million a month the last time I spoke. Now we are spending 2 million a month. And how we support that new uplift, it's not with new people because I always have one person handling that channel, but we have new GTM engineers. And what we are doing at the moment is like building a custom product, which is an internal product to basically operate our channel the best way as possible. So we have a huge stuff around creatives. So because today we are very good in terms of targeting. So we have a lot of data flowing, a lot of audiences creation, a lot of data to make Meta Vibe learn as much as possible what we value because those platforms have great algorithm to infer what they need to purchase. But what we didn't have is a product to like really steer our creative motion. And the creative in paid ad, it's key. There is a big volume play. Today we are spending 2 million a month. So it means that we need to ship 30 concepts a week, which is huge. And at the end of the day, if you want to ship 30 concepts a week efficiently, you're not going to do that with a Google Sheet and make sure that everything is happening well in your team. So we build a product to monitor that we are shipping the right volume, monitor the performances of those new creatives and have a bit everything automatic in terms of like finding who are the winners among the 30 concepts a week that we deploy across the platform and then killing the loser and scaling the winners. So all of that, you have no products doing it, or maybe you have some, but we have a way of working that is so particular that we just decided to build a product that is internal and that is very very well adapted to our needs and to the way we are working. So this is a perfect example of how one channel owners with some GTM engineer are building like synergies to just be more efficient on that channel and to go from the 100 to the 300. We launch as well new channels. So we launch out of home, which is big at the moment for us. So the people that are living in New York and in San Francisco tell me
Everywhere.
tell me every time that they see us a lot in the subway, in Times Square, in San Francisco, etc. So this allows us to have like a great brand now that is well known in those markets. We launch as well AEO, SEO. We have a big play today that is around creators because we want to scale as well the volume and work. Basically, we want to flood social network with our content. We want to be everywhere. But those are examples of new channels that we launched since 12 months and that are helping us to diversify the portfolio of channels that we have that are working for us and bringing revenue and that help us like go to the next stage, which is going to 1 billion by the end of 2027.
Wow, that's a big target. And I want to zoom into the paid media specifically. You mentioned Meta. I assume there's also Google Ads. Are there any other platforms that you're experimenting in? And this custom tool that you're building feeds in, the data from all the platforms into one, and you create different creatives for each of the platform, or is it just like Meta and Google Ads?
No. So the 4 big platforms that we are using, it's Meta, Vibe, LinkedIn, and Google. So those are the 4 big ones that we are using heavily at the moment. We have some tickets here and there in TikTok to see what we can do because we know that we have some D2C and e-commerce guys that are spending time there. But at the end of the day, we just want to occupy the spare where our audience is. Reddit is as well something that we are experimenting with because we know the marketers are like spending quite a lot of time on Reddit, especially paid ads guys, because they discuss like the challenges they have around like CAC increasing on Meta, etc. So yeah, first principle thinking, just spending money where our audience is. So the 4 platforms I mentioned it. There is a huge dog fooding on our side because media is cheaper because it's our own platform. And second, we need to be the best at using Vibe and then share those playbooks to our audience so that they can actually, so we can educate them and they can do then the same stuff than us. Because what we are a B2B companies, we are selling to businesses. And what we want to have is more B2B doing TV ads because, I mean, on my side, so I'm always seeing like the same ads around like the insurance, that kind of stuff. I want TV to be like a recommendation engine, like Meta is doing actually. I want to see TV ads that are related to my personal consumer interest. So I'm doing a lot of sports. So I would like to see more than that. And Vibe is already doing that by being very targeted on TV. That's great. So Vibe is bringing that recommendation engine on the consumer side on TV. But what is still missing is the B2B doing TV because I'm a VP growth and marketing and I would like other vendors to sell me their product on TV, because at the end of the day, even when I'm watching my TV, I'm a buyer. And so I want to see those B2B companies that are like targeting decision makers on TV. And that's what we are doing with our own audience. And that's the best way to convince them that this is a great product because when CMOs see the Vibe TV ad, they are like, wow, this ad was like displayed thanks to the Vibe product. So I want to do the same. So that's just the best way to convince them. So
yeah, makes sense. Become your own case study. Okay. So the paid ads workflow is quite clear. There are new creatives every week. You use probably Higgsfield or FAL or something like this to create AI generated creatives in combination with designers. Higgsfield. I'm also a Higgsfield power user through the terminal and everything. I think MCP is like one of these things that every company like Higgsfield or, Vibe should do to let people like ourselves just operate everything in one system. So that is the paid media workflow, right? Then you mentioned IO and SEO. I think that IO is such a big buzzword right now. It's everywhere. And, there are so many different criteria. There's SEO, there's Reddit, there's LinkedIn, there's YouTube that play a role in how you rank in search. How do you approach IO? Is it also one person that handles everything connected to the channel, the content distribution and things like that? Or what are the workflows that you've developed so far?
So actually we have someone that is like handling the full content strategy. She has an objective around like content overall, so educate the market. And she has all the AO and SEO part, which is about like being mentioned and being seen organically. This is our scope. And so today we are shipping, for example, 40 pieces a week on our website. So we have the system to scrap basically the intent and what the market is discussing. And we have those skills with Claude Code and with as well automated agent, deployed on Claude Manage agent that write article for us. And then just by having a human in the loop, we can validate or just like make small edits to allow us to have that content engine. So all the AEO part is around like having great operations around writing content that feed the AEO motion by still having a great human touch around like the content that will be targeted for humans. So which is really about education, video on social, executive thought leadership. So around AEO, we are at the beginning, but overall we have two pieces, I would say, like two main workflow, which is the workflow in terms of content to feed those SEO and AEO efforts, because we know that we are producing content mainly with AI, but that is to influence AI and to be sure that we are positioned and that we are just shipping value on our industry for those LLMs. And we have a different type of content, which is about content that we want to be read by human, which is different way of working. Because I mean, what I don't like in this world as well, I don't like reading a piece of paper that are like just formatted for AI. I hate that, it's FAQ. You understand that the content was just written for AEO and not like for you. So for me, I'm still doing that differences between like a content where there is like a human audience behind it and a content where it's just a game of volume as well and a game of like covering your space in terms of like editorial opinion and making sure that you are positioned for AEO and SEO. So that's what we are doing at the moment. And of course, we have a lot of AI, but AI is given the audience at a different level of automation. So we have big human in the loop the human audience, and we have like less human in the loop for what is about like delivering content for AO and SEO.
Sense. What are the connectors that you're using? I'm assuming like Ahrefs maybe, or data for SEO.
So Ahrefs, AirOps, Profound. We are using Dato CMS. So basically everything can be run from Claude Code. So you can analyze where you're at with Ahrefs, AirOps, Profound. You can then write your content with the skill that we produce, so that we make sure that the content we produce is like respecting the tone of voice that we want to have. And once the content is draft, we can just push directly into Dato CMS, so that the full workflow is done from the agent, and you don't need to actually spend time on Ahrefs UI, on AirOps UI, or on Dato CMS UI.
Awesome. So Ahrefs and Prospero for sourcing the questions, AirOps for creating the content, and then you push it to publish. And
Exactly.
it's a full pipeline of 40 content pieces per week. And when it comes to, you mentioned that there's also expert opinions and like thought leadership involved in this. How do you input that into the pipeline of, the keywords and everything that you get weekly?
So I would say that we are less on that side. It's less about understanding what Ahrefs is telling us, and more about as well how our product is evolving, and as well what sales call are telling us. Because we have 12 sales call a week, and we know what are the concern and what are the reaction to the people we are talking to. So I'm much more relying on that data for that part, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is like reply to the questions and to the narrative that those guys have, and like ship value, because we already understand what are their concerns, what are their questions, why they didn't do CTV in the first place, why they did CTV in the past but didn't succeed, and what we know as well, what we are doing in terms of products and our as well KPIs. We have tons of data around like what are the channels that are working well, how much we are buying, what's the challenges of CTV. And so those stuff are really data that Vibe owns, and we have tons of content to ship based on that, reply to the questions that our prospects have. So our content, thought leadership content, is more based on that rather than Ahrefs that is around like SEO. And then it's all about having a tone of voice that is like that match the voice of Arthur, my voice, etc., and the voice of the brand, so that we can ship white paper, we can ship as well just post LinkedIn post or Twitter post, and it's all about like being visible with that content that we want to be read by you.
I think to add to that motion, Reddit seems like a no-brainer, because to be honest, like having all of this sales data, having all of this content pieces already, all you have to do is set up a parser. Like I, for example, like for one of the brands that I work with, built a parser that monitors the relevant mentions in relevant subreddits. And because you have all of that huge pool of data, it can already know like what to reply in Reddit tone of voice style. It's just a matter of like having these other accounts that would reply to this, right? So
yeah, exactly.
It's a no-brainer.
So we are doing this with an agency, to be completely honest. So we have an agency that is doing that for us, of having several Reddit accounts, so that we can just like reply to those threads where there is a question around our industry. And we have as well our own Reddit account, Vibe, where we can just like reply sometimes when it makes sense, by still playing by the rule of the Reddit community. But what we want to do with the Reddit community is just like opening the right thread, replying to the right thread as well, by shipping as well value and education, and as well supporting our AO efforts. So we start being on Reddit, but I'm still not perfectly happy with where we are at. So we have tons of improvement to make on that side as well.
Just in terms of scale, or the amount of referral traffic that you're getting from Reddit?
The traffic, I'm not sure. I don't have the stats in mind. I can tell you the impressions that we are making. So Reddit, for me today, I'm mainly seeing that a bit like LLM. So I don't want that much traffic from direct LLM. I want LLMs and Reddit to influence our prospect, to educate, to influence. At the end of the day, what I'm counting on is people coming to us, booking a call and telling us, okay, I saw you on Reddit, I saw you on LLM, or I just want this to happen in the buying life cycle, because we want to be everywhere. We want to influence everywhere. We want touch points, even if we can't track and it's not direct traffic. So I think today we are at K impressions per month on Reddit, which is great because we have a lot of thread where we are present. We have a lot of like comments where we are present. That's nice. But I don't have the numbers in mind of like people telling us, okay, I heard about you on Reddit, but I need to monitor that more carefully because we are scaling, we are investing in that channel, so we need to monitor what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, have you also considered Reddit ads, because impressions wise is like one of the cheapest channels, but the conversion is a different story there.
Yeah, we've tried, and so we've tried because our audience is there in Reddit, but we always have that issue, and I don't know like if other people in the space and like me know if you see that episode and like you have the same issue. We have a lot of both quality of traffic issues with Reddit ads. A lot of coming from it. So we have some great leads from Reddit ads, but like big portion of it is like bot and like invalid traffic. So that's my issue at the moment. That's what I would like to solve. But except like if we remove that issue, of course, like the Reddit people, like the marketing people are spending a lot of time on Reddit.
And speaking of other marketing arms as well, and you mentioned sales a few times already throughout this episode. Sales is obviously a big motion for, someone learning about Vibe and actually getting to it. How does a sales arm look like now at Vibe, and how much of it is agentified? Because I think this is like one of the things that there's an incredible sea of tools on, especially if you go on LinkedIn, every other post is from a sales tool. So I'm curious to know, what have you built and what is the tool stack?
Yeah, there is a lot of noise on that. That's true. And so we are still figuring out what we should do as well. What I can tell you is that our position today is that, so we have 50 AE. Historically, we had half that were allocated to inbound. So basically treating the people registering and trying to upsell them or just sell them. And we had the outbound that is about like chasing the accounts that never like register or booked a call. Today, we are going into a direction where we want to move all the SDR inbound to SDR outbound, because we are in a pretty good place to have an agent that is able to fully do the SDR inbound work, because that agent is able to, from a registration, to easily research the account. So basically, what is this company? What is the job title of the person that register from this company, how I should reach out based on the product activity I'm already seeing. And basically, since the intent is high, it's quite easy for the agent to figure out when the message needs to be sent and what message needs to be sent to book a call. So this is quite easy. So I would say that I would advise like people in the space to inbound SDR. You should be able to replace that by an agent, because like you have all the data points if your data is well modeled, to just like replace that by an agent. It doesn't mean you need to fire your SDR inbound, of course. It just means that those SDR needs to be fully allocated into chasing bigger accounts and doing outbounds, basically. So we still have, of course, AE on the inbound side. So all the people that we are managing to book call with, we need to talk to them and make sure that they are set up for success. So on the AE, basically the AE inbound, it's back-to-back meeting. And it's all about human relationship. They are not doing anything else, almost, than talking to human. And we are trying to make them as efficient as possible so that they spend less and less time in the CRM thanks to AI. We are heavily investing into Headless CRM, which is about having a sales that is able to chat with the CRM to update the information and pull the information so that everything is located into the place that he's working already, Slack, whatever, and just doesn't have to click, doing click buttons in Salesforce so that he can fill the information, which is about like, which make the AE lose a lot of time actually. And so on the outbound side, we still have SDR and AE, but hopefully the world that I'm seeing is that so the prospection for me, like you can see your inbox. If your inbox is like mine, it's like full of crap, so much noise. And basically I'm not reading my emails anymore, like overall. So of course I am reading my email, but like I'm archiving very fast the stuff that I don't know, basically. All the stuff. So basically I'm not reading anymore the emails from external vendors. So it means that the only people that manage to reach me are people that are like quite creative and that are very human because like the automatic way is not working. So what we are doing on the outbound side, we have a lot of marketing activities. We try to aggregate that marketing activities into a warm score. So it means that we bundle a lot of signals that are related to our market and that are very unique to us to make sure that we are actually outreaching to people that one knows Vibe and two are ready to buy. Because if we are like attacking completely cold, that's very hard. And so that warm score is our like key aspect because our system is about building a warm score that is able to define the account that is ready to buy. And then when that warm score is high enough, automatically allocate that account to an SDR or an AE that will attack the given account based on the signals that we gave them. This is where we are trying basically to build the marketing and sales synergies where the marketing is able to give the right account to the sales team and the sales team is able to give us feedback on what signals we should scrap and we should collect that defines like the likelihood of a positive reply basically. And then we don't use email anymore we use email, but email is like decreasing in terms of positive reply, phone call as well. What we have success on is LinkedIn at the moment, so that we try to a bit automate, but by still having human in the loop, because as I said, like human relationship is key there. And overall, that's what we are trying to do today, and trying to figure out what's the best way to like talk to people by not being spammy and by being very respectful of their time.
That's amazing. And I wanted to zoom into the signals a bit because there are so many things that you're doing, right? There are ads, obviously, so people are viewing the website, learning more about Vibe. There's probably LinkedIn sort of signal there where you get the engagements on your posts and the founders' posts. And then one piece that is unclear to me still is the out-of-home advertising, because you have no way to track that. And I know that a huge chunk of the budget for marketing was allocated to it. So it's a really big bet that seems to be paying off. But I'm curious first is what are the signals and if I kind of, name them correctly. And two is how did you justify such a big marketing cut for out-of-home advertising for something that you cannot track as a data-first person?
That's a good question. And so I'm not going to lie. So the only signals that we have is digital. So of course that we can't say like, okay, that guy saw our out-of-home. So that's not part of the signal. The signals that we bundle are mainly digital and around like channels that are very digital. So just to give you some example of signals that we are using. So the best signals I would say is about like scrapping the website of all our markets to understand what marketing tools they use, because first we have a big integration play. So we are integrated with Clay, we are integrated with Klaviyo, with Triplewhale, with Northbeam. So we know who are the customers of those people because they install the pixel, and or we have partnership as well with those brands to understand what's the common pipeline that we have with them. And so we can outreach them in a very relevant way because we know what tools they use. And usually when you know the tool, you know better the stage of maturity of the company and what are their challenges. Because for example, if you have Northbeam or Triplewhale, it means you have a measurement tool. And when you have a measurement tool, it means that you have challenges around like measuring your activity, your ads efficiency. And if you have that issue of measuring that ads efficiency, it means you are spending a lot. Because if you
smart,
you reach like basically a maturity stage. So overall, there is a lot of stuff that we are doing to like map that market, understand how those guys are using those tools. And we can then outreach in a nice way by telling, hey, so I saw that you are using Northbeam. Here is an example of a customer stories of a Northbeam customer that got a lot of success with Vibe by measuring in Northbeam. And by the way, I saw that you are using as well Klaviyo. Here is the playbook that you can use to onboard your audiences from Klaviyo to Vibe. So this is a great way to outreach because people, when we outreach like that, they understand, okay, those guys know what they are doing. And then you have as well a lot of signals around social. You mentioned LinkedIn, but we have a lot of post LinkedIn. We have a lot of LinkedIn ads. All the comments and likes and engagement, we collect them. We push them into that warm score so that if a CEO of a prospect company is like liking the post of Arthur that tells that we just shipped the Clay ads integration, it's coming to the sales team, and the sales team is able to reach out to that CEO. Hey, I saw that you like the post of Arthur. Do you have a question on the Clyde's integration? Would you like to try it? Here is the case study, blah, blah, blah. So it's simple in a way, but it's already so much better than what people are doing out there, which is about, hey, congrats for the fundraising that happened 2 years ago. Yeah, good job. I mean, everybody is doing that. People are still talking to me about the fundraising that we did in September 2024. I mean, I will never reply to that kind of message, of course. And so it needs to be personalized. It needs to understand my issues. It needs to understand as well somehow me. What's my personality, and I give a lot of tips on LinkedIn on what's my personality, because I'm trying to post so you can try to figure out how I like to discuss. But yeah, basically this is how it's working today. And you had a second question, so the signals,
the out of home,
yeah,
the out of home advertising.
So out of home, so how it happened, basically, we had discussion with Arthur around like how much to invest in out of home. And we had as well discussions on other great people that are doing out of home. And the big feedback that we got on out of home is like, go big or go home. So that doesn't mean anything, but it means at least that we won't do out of home in a very targeted way where we rate small. It's all about share of voice, because today we are doing paid ads, but paid ads can be as well, so you can scroll, you can swipe, etc. So we want share of voice. So we want to be here, everywhere, like not skippable, because you can't skip, of course, an out-of-home ads. And we wanted as well to be seen everywhere in two super important markets for us, which is New York, because huge density of of companies, and San Francisco, because that's where all the AI companies and big advertisers are. Those are the two super important markets. And then we just went around like investing. So we took a big risk that paid, of course, but we invested 20% of our total marketing budget into out of home. That is big, because usually we say that, okay, brand should be 10 to 20%. So it depends basically, but overall we took a bit bet. But what we've seen is, first, it helped like amazingly on building partnership with either integration partners like Clay, like Northbeam, because like this, you have like the notoriety and the credibility of talking to bigger players than you. So this is what's happening in our discussion. And it helped as well a lot on the supply side, of course, because like we put in the spotlight some company like Disney, those channels where the credibility of Vibe went from like startup to startup plus, So it didn't
Makes
only
sense.
help on the customer side. That's why it's hard to measure, because overall marketing, we always say it's about like acquiring new customer, but for our case, we acquire new customer, but we build deep partnership that allow to acquire even more customers. So it's a bit of flywheel that is like hard to measure, but that you can see a bit in every team, and even in hiring, because the talent that we are able to get thanks to the credibility we got with the out of home is as well a big stuff, because like that you can like just hire people that are working in very top companies that are A+ player, which is super important to succeed at the end of the day, because everything is about human and having like a strong culture around like top talent. So yeah, overall, we didn't measure anything. We just decided about a percentage, and a percentage that was decided based on the discussion of out-of-home vendor on how much does it cost to be that much and like seen as much in a given company, in a given market, sorry. And we just went for it. And at the end of the day, that's a risk that paid a lot. If I had to redo it, I don't think we would go higher than that, because higher than 20%, it starts being like very risky, especially for a first bet into out of home. But I would say that when you reach Series B, Series A stage, so now, I mean, companies are doing earlier and earlier the out of home bet, but like try between 10 and 20% and just be very mindful into the creativity that you will put into that campaign, because what you want to have is not only be seen, but be remembered, and you will be remembered only if like your message is original. And for us, that's what worked increasingly like super well, because our like campaigns were like super well received, and we got like a lot of like cheers and like congratulations on, okay, so congrats guys, the campaigns looks awesome.
Yeah, I think it's the type of billboard that you want to take a screenshot, to take a photo of and send it to your group chat of friends, which is everything that you would want from an ad.
And we got several like feedbacks that we got shared into the Slack of Ramp, into the Slack of Rippling. So that's what was our objective, because those guys our targeted accounts. So we know we are in the discussions of those people. So of course they are not, I don't know if they are customers of us already, but at least we are in the discussion the day that they want to launch the streaming TV channel.
How long did it take you to plan this out of home campaign? Because, the idea itself is very novel in a way, how the ad is. So you have to be really creative. So I wonder like how many people pitch in.
But the execution, we were such in a rush because we started the discussion in November 2025 for a push that we wanted to start in January 2026. And so basically we were like just like in the urgency mode, but like hardcore, I would say. And so that was very tough, I would say, to keep the timeline in terms of like design production. But on the ideation part, on what were the campaign, so I would say that was very, very fast, because so Arthur specifically has a strong instinct on like what he wanted to communicate and the risk he wanted to put into those campaigns, because Arthur carried the risk that we put into that campaign of like being funny, because we tried like stuff that were like that we could qualify as edgy, I would say, but
very much
only a founder can take that risk, and Arthur like succeeded like ton in that way. And so when you have just the approval of the founder of like, okay guys, just we have like we say carte blanche in French, I don't know if it's white card.
Carte blanche.
So carte blanche means basically just do whatever you want, and you're all in, of course, by still being respectful and not doing that are like ugly or but so
devalue the brand.
The creative process was very fast, because as soon as we had the great idea, we said, okay, let's go, just let's do it. And so we didn't think twice, and at the end of the day it succeeded. If I took as well one, so the feedback that I would give on out of home is like diversify the concept, because on our side we made a lot of diversification because we made some campaigns that were very funny. We made some campaign where we were showing the product, where we were showing the customer, where we were showing the partners, so basically we did a lot of stuff very different. So some campaigns that were not showing the product at all, but just being super brandy and aspirational. So each time you had a new campaign of Vibe, it was a stuff that was different, a concept that was different, and like people were just like seeing different stuff. And that's a bit like paid ads. You need a lot of volume, and you want to show people that you are creative. And so like don't be afraid of like changing the concept, so that you can see like you can show the full spectrum of what you're able to do to your customer.
I'm curious, did you run these as paid ads as well, sort of like a proof of concept or a test?
No, we didn't do this, because we wanted to be like what is risky with paid ads is that you will push some concept that won't work at all in Meta, for example, but that will like be super successful on out of home, because the inventory is like fundamentally different. Because on Meta you can just swipe like this. The hook is super important. While in out of home, if the stuff is in front of your nose in the subway, it's either you exit the subway and you don't go to work, or you just like you sit here
you
and
have no choice.
Yeah, so you have no choice basically. So it's different. So I strongly advise to like have a fully different strategy in terms of what you are allowed to do in terms of creatives in out of home and in paid ads. But what we did though is like the amplification from our out of home campaigns on social were huge on our side because we had pictures, we had concept, and we basically even if you are not in New York and in San Francisco, our prospect knows that we went big on out of home and they saw our campaigns and they liked it either way.
That's how I discovered Vibe. So it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I wanted to also ask you a bit about your personal AI stack. What are your daily drivers? Is it just Claude? Do you use, Hermes agent or anything else that, you coming into this industry, AI engineering, marketing, and so on, have a very deep technical background. So I would imagine you fully are CP'd out.
Yeah, no, but I'm full into Claude at the moment, and basically I'm using two products from Claude heavily, which is not Claude Chat, which is not Claude Cowork. It's Claude Code when I want to run like agent on my personal computer, and which is Claude Manage Agent when I want to the Claude agent to the basically my agent to run even if my computer is closed, because at the end of the day, and what I'm always telling to my team is you need to like act all of you as a manager and make sure that your agents are working at any time, because each time I'm not giving them work, it's wasted time. And that's the same way. Each time they are not making their agent work, it's wasted time, So you want the agent to be able to work during the night. You want the agent to be able to work while you are like flying from Italy to US. So basically, if your laptop is closed, you want the agent to run. And today, Claude Code runs when they have the remote functionality, of course, but mainly runs when you are like actively working on your laptop. But what I want to have is like several agents working at the same time, and even several agents that are working when my laptop is closed. So the bottleneck is more on the instructions and the ability that you will have to make agent work correctly with human in the loop, even if you are not like giving them direct instruction, rather than just typing on your laptop to prompt.
Absolutely. What are your, must-have these autonomous workflows that you've created that you cannot imagine working or living without, whether that's work-related or personal?
So what I like the most today is like for our paid ads channel, because now we have the Vibe MCP, we have the Meta MCP, we have the Google MCP, and Vibe, the UI of Vibe is great, but the UI of Meta is horrible. The UI of Google Ads is horrible. The UI of LinkedIn Ads is horrible.
Terrible.
And so I didn't want to touch any of that since I arrived in growth. And so I was waiting so much about an AI that is able to give me all those information in those platforms to be able to configure my strategy and my campaigns from the AI. And so basically what we are seeing today is like my paid ads expert is not the only one anymore to configure campaign. I'm configuring campaign because I just have like that. It's so easy now, so easy. So basically, that job is changing a lot. And so even if we are spending 2 million a month, 2 million a month is easy to spend today because you have agents that are able to collect that data during the night to give you what's going on in the morning, and that can push the new creatives for you, that can iterate, configure A/B tests, etc., etc. So paid ads was so like painful to run like 3 years ago. And what the company were doing, they were hiring one person per platform because you needed to master the complexity of each platform independently. So it's such a different world today. Like basically, it's not like what we are asking to a growth marketer is not to master the complexity of the UI, which is what we were asking them in the past. It's actually to be creative, to give the right message to the right audience. Whatever the complexity, there is no more complexity around like the configuration of the campaign because the AI is doing that. So the job is completely disrupt on the growth marketer side. And we are coming back to interesting stuff actually, because that like just mastering the complexity of a UI, you can't tell that it's an interesting job. An interesting job is about being creative and shipping messages that provide value to a given audience.
Yeah, and it's also, I think you mentioned a lot about personalization and things like that, but with Meta these days, I feel like sometimes it's best you just let it run and let the Meta algorithm figure it out. So really all you can do is iterate on creative and load it up with new concepts every day and just keep a pulse check on it. There's no more like tinkering.
Those platforms got so good at targeting on their own. So the complexity is not on targeting anymore, creating custom audiences. It's really about the creative, and then the algorithm will do the work. And so, but 2 years ago, you already had that algorithm like efficiency on Meta, but you didn't have that MCP. So you still had that UI complexity that was still of a bottleneck, a frontier that could allow anyone to contribute to such a motion, So this is where as well with the MCP we are entering a new world in terms of like paid ads for growth marketing.
Yeah, and you're playing alongside this game with Vibe MCP as well, so you make it easy for your customers to.
Exactly. We just released the Vibe MCP, we released the Vibe developer platform, we released the API, we released the CLI. So basically, I'm just telling to our power user, if you don't want to use the UI, even if it's great, just use your Claude and you will be super efficient and you will be able basically to run a TV campaign with Claude, which is like hundreds of thousands of miles away from the where we were in terms of TV buying, like just 5 years ago.
Amazing. And Vibe ships a lot. You just released the CLI, the MCP, and the developer platform. What should we be on the lookout for in the near future?
So in the near future, expect more agentic feature within Vibe directly as well, because what is important for us is as well the Vibe agent. The Vibe agent within the Vibe platform needs to be basically your growth marketer that is like running autonomously. Expect more performances from our model because we have more and more data. We have more and more audiences. We have just like more improvement to make TV the best performance marketing channel in the world, and expect as well from us the top channels to be accessible in Vibe. So we are still missing some. Netflix is an example. So we want Netflix to be like in Vibe, and we are getting there. And overall, more integrations and more measurement capabilities, because we want not only performance marketer to buy TV through Vibe, but we want to prove them that this is a great channel. So we will add many measurement capabilities around incrementality measurement, around halo effect measurement, around like whatever measurement they want to have, being within Vibe or through an integration. So you can expect that from us as well.
Awesome. Exciting stuff. And where people can find you, follow your work, follow Vibe for updates?
So if you want to follow closely what Vibe is doing, follow either me or Arthur. So me on LinkedIn, Arthur Kérou, the CEO and founder. On LinkedIn and Twitter, he's very active as well. So you will be able to both follow what's the life at Vibe and what we ship on a daily basis.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you online.
Thank you, Paulina. See you online.
Bye.
Bye.